Greetings. My name is Brian Litton, and I'm a Norwegian. On my visits to Trondheim, Norway, to visit the old family farm, we would often joke. You can always tell a Norwegian, you just can't tell them much. 6 months of darkness and long cold winters can only be staved off with daily doses of the national drink, aquavit. We all know the French have their cognac, the Italians grappa, and the Mexicans have tequila. But what about Norway? Our national spirit is, of course, aquavit. They call it the water of life. It's not only limited to Norway, but also Sweden and Denmark. When we last went home to Norway and stopped at the largest liquor dispensary, only to find that there are over 90 different varieties of aquavit in Norway. What exactly is aquavit? It's a Scandinavian flavored spirit distilled from mashed grains, such as wheat, potatoes, and generally has an alcohol content of between about 42 and 47%. The term Norwegian aquavit has been protected since March 1st of 2011, and in order to fulfill this name, the spirit has to be distilled in Norway from potatoes, 95% Norwegian potatoes, and then aged in oak barrels for a minimum of 6 months. The spirit can vary in color and flavor according to which herbs and spices are utilized, and depending on what barrels are being used to age the aquavit. In the 15th century, aquavit was distilled from imported wine, which made it expensive. However, from the 18th century onwards, this was swapped out with potatoes. When Nordic drinking began, nobody knows for sure, although people might have brewed alcoholic beverages ever since the first grain was planted following the last ice age. Norse mythology clearly referred to intoxication from alcohol, and the Norse were said to have received their poetic ability and wisdom from drinking Sutkin's mead, a gift from Odin himself. The Vikings also drank wine, according to the Edda poems, which were documented in the 13th century, after being delivered orally for about 400 years. We also know that Leif Erikson made wine from grapes that grew in Vinland, today's Newfoundland. These grapes were not in the same family as the European Vitis vinifera grapes, which we have today, and probably tasted a lot different from most wine today. The Norwegian Vikings didn't actually make wine, but they sure knew how to get drunk. When beer became part of the European daily life, most of the traditional brewers were women. In Northern Europe, a woman hoping to get married had to be able to brew a great beer. The Norwegian Viking, although both thirsty and wild, did not know about stronger liquor. In the 15th century, it became the norm to distill liquor from grains, which had a great influence in the availability of alcohol in countries that did not produce wine. In the 16th century, hard liquor also started gaining ground in the Nordic countries. Hard liquor was produced and used as medicine as early as the 12th century, especially among monks in convents that functioned as hospitals back then. With all the pests and epidemics running rampant back then, spirits were particularly effective as a healing agent. Princess Anna of Sachsen was one of Europe's leading aquavit producers. She was born Princess of Denmark in 1532 and King Frederick II's sister. She later married Count August of Sachsen. She was beyond interested in herbs, tinctures, and spirits. She created and shipped her legendary elixirs to kings and emperors all over Europe, and was undoubtedly a central figure in that time's medicinal world. Unfortunately, she kept her recipes very secret, and when she died in 1585, her 181 aquavit recipes all died with her. So, just remember, if you're in Norway from October to April, and you'll be sitting down to a lutefisk meal cured in cold water lye, you will be grateful for that liter of aquavit.